Chapter 11. I awoke to the sound of knocking on my window. It was a cop. Shit. I looked at my watch. 4:58 a.m. I rolled down my window. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "Do you need assistance?" "I'm sorry, officer," I said. "No, I'm okay. I drove down here from Virginia to see my dad, but my wallet was stolen and I have no money for gas. I'm waiting for my dad to wire money to me." "Unfortunately, you can't wait here, son," he said. "You'll have to move along." "Of course," I said. "I'm sorry. I'll leave now." I was thankful he didn't want to look me up, so I quickly rolled up my window and drove away before he changed his mind. I drove back toward Dunedin and saw a Waffle House that was open. I needed to kill some time, so I thought I'd eat an early breakfast. I brought the laptop inside and looked for clues in Dad's files, but found nothing useful. I did find several hundred photos dating back to when Dad was a child, up to when Lisa and I were married. There were several photos of Mom and Dad when they were young, as well as many of me when I was a baby and toddler. It felt good to reminisce, but after a while, I realized I had more important things to do. After more than 2 hours and several cups of coffee, I decided I had killed enough time. I needed to go to the one place I didn't want to return to. I was not going to be welcome there. That was for sure. About 15 minutes later, I pulled into my driveway, or to be technically correct, the driveway of Alex Newman. I sat in the car for a minute, trying to decide what I was going to say. When nothing came to me, I just got out and headed to the front door. Someone must have seen or heard me pull in, because as I approached the house, the door opened slightly. Alex peered out, pointed a finger at me, and said, "You killed my father, you son of a bitch. I'm calling the police." I stepped forward and put my foot in the door just as he closed it and said, "Wait, the woman I was with used me. I admit I was stupid. It's my fault. I am sick about it. I thought she wanted to help Dad, but she was actually after something from him. When she got it, she shot him. She tried to shoot me too, but I knocked her out before she could. That is why she was caught. She is working for Scott Parker, and since I now have what they are looking for, my life is in danger too. I need your help, please." Alex relaxed his hold on the door and let it open slightly. "Dad," he said, "who are you, and how did you find my father in the first place?" "Give me a few minutes, and I will explain everything," I said. He thought for several long seconds and said, "Okay, but I need your keys first." "My keys?" I said. "Your car keys," he said. "Give me your keys, and I will talk to you." He must have noticed the confused look on my face, so he said, "Look, I still don't trust you. You are less likely to cause problems if you can't drive away. Also, if I take your keys and then have to call the police, it will be more difficult for you to escape. Showing me trust will go a long way toward me trusting you." I couldn't argue with that logic and wondered how I got so smart. I reached into my pocket and handed over the keys. Alex took the keys and called Lisa, who appeared behind him a few seconds later. Seeing her again filled me with emotion. I wanted to push through the door and take her in my arms, but I knew that would do nothing but land me in jail. "Here," he said. "Take these and lock the door behind me. If you hear anything unusual, call the police." He quickly stepped outside and closed the door before she had time to protest. "Okay, let's hear it," he said. "Do you remember getting your head scanned at your father's lab about 5 years ago?" I asked. "Sure. That was when my father was first able to map a person's memory with his invention." "Do you know why he went to work for Scott Parker?" "I remember his goal was to restore lost memories after a person had lost a significant portion of their memories from Alzheimer's disease or other types of dementia. He couldn't accomplish that with his limited resources at the university. I tried to talk him out of it. I thought he was selling his soul to the devil, but he wouldn't listen. He kept going on about how many people he would be able to help. Did you know they built a machine that could implant memories into the human brain? The last time I talked to my father, he said they were close, but that was all I heard. He disappeared shortly after that," Alex said. "What I am about to tell you will sound very hard to believe, but it's true," I said. "Your dad discovered that Scott Parker had other plans for the device. Those plans were bad enough to prompt your father to destroy the software needed to record people's memories and disappear. He was able to corrupt the software that reads and records memories, but he couldn't destroy the machine that rewrites a person's brain. Parker recovered the brain scans your father took that day 5 years ago, but only one of them was helpful to him. Yours. You are right, Alex said. That sounds very far-fetched, and why would my brain scan be important anyway? Because only you could help them find your father, I said. Alex thought about it for a few seconds, then looked at me and said, "Wait a minute, you're not telling me that you are." "That is exactly what I am telling you," I said. "I am you. Scott Parker told me that your memories were implanted into this body. He told me this body is a clone. The plan was to grow physically superior humans and implant the memories of elite Special Forces soldiers. Imagine taking the best of the best and duplicating them en masse." "Cloning humans is illegal," Alex said. "Do you think that ever stopped our government before? I think maybe this is what Dad discovered. I'm not convinced, and I am also uncomfortable with you calling him Dad," he said. "How do you think I found him in the first place?" I asked. "I used your memory of going out on Dr. Bill's boat." "That's just crazy," he said. "I don't know how you knew that, but it doesn't prove anything." "Okay," I said. "Ask me anything that only you know from before 5 years ago. Tell me about the first fight I was ever in." "I don't remember, and neither do you. Ask me a real question." "Okay, how did I break my foot as a child?" "You got a ladder and climbed onto the roof. You were convinced that you could use your bedsheet as a parachute. You were wrong." "Yeah, that was embarrassing," Alex said, "but I'm sure I told someone that. Tell me, what was my favorite class in high school?" "Science," I said. "We probably should have gotten into science instead of computers." Alex looked at me in astonishment. "That's right," he said slowly, "but I like computers too." "You are good at computers, and it pays the bills, but you have no passion for it," I said. Alex thought for a moment and said, "I suppose you are right about that too. It has always been just a job. I should have followed my passion, but I thought a career in computers would be a more stable choice." "Okay, how did I get this scar on the back of my hand?" He showed me the small scar on his hand that was hard to see. It had faded somewhat since the last time I really looked at it. "You were trying to make friends with a goose when you were very young. Maybe 4 years old," I said. "The goose turned out to be not so friendly." "I'm starting to think that maybe you aren't crazy," he said. "Tell me one more. How did Lisa tell me about our first child?" "She surprised you with a nice candlelit dinner." "What did she cook for dinner?" "She didn't cook anything. She ordered Chinese food." "That's incredible," Alex said. "I never told anyone that." "It is incredible. You are right about that. If I wanted to lie to you, I would have told you something more believable," I said. "Okay, I believe you. So, will you help me?" "I will do what I can. What do you need from me?" I pulled the key out of my pocket and held it up. "Does Dad still have a safety deposit box at your bank?" "I believe so. Where did you get that?" I pulled the note out of my pocket and handed it to Alex. The key was attached to the letter. Alex read the letter and then handed it back to me. "Keep it. Dad wrote it for you," I said. "There are certain protocols that the bank must follow after the death of a customer, but I am friends with the manager." "I think he will let me in," Alex said. "You're friends with Martin? The guy who said loud enough for everyone to hear that he couldn't believe someone as hot as Lisa would go out with a guy like you?" "No, that asshole was fired years ago, not long after the brain scan, I think. The new manager transferred from another location. You wouldn't know him." He pulled his phone out of his pocket and hit a number on his contact list. After a few seconds, he said, "Hi, Terry. It's Alex. Yes, thank you. It was a shock. Listen, is Frank around? Okay, thanks." Alex hung up and said, "He's busy and will call me back in 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'll get my keys and we can head to the bank. I would prefer it if you came with me. I know how you feel about Lisa, and quite frankly, I don't want you anywhere near her." I understood his concern. Who would be a greater threat to a happy marriage than someone exactly like you, but bigger and stronger? "No worries," I said. "I have already made peace with the fact that I am not you and have no intention of hurting my former self." As soon as we got into Alex's car, the phone rang. "This is my boss, so don't say anything," he said. He pressed a button on the steering wheel and said, "Hi, Frank? Thanks for calling me back." A loud, raspy voice came through the speakers. "Hi, Alex. I'm so sorry to hear about your father. What can I do for you?" "Thanks, Frank. I need a favor. My father has a safety deposit box at the bank, and I need to look inside it." "You know I can't allow that, Alex. You need a death certificate and proof that you are the legal heir." "I understand, but you know my father is dead. It was all over the news. You also know my mother is dead, and I have no siblings. It is important. What is in there could be evidence in his murder." "I thought they caught the woman who did it." "They did, but she was working for someone very powerful. If there is evidence in that box, the sooner we get it, the better." "What the hell was your father into?" "That's what I am trying to find out, Frank. Can you help?" "Just a minute," Frank said, and we heard him tapping on his keyboard. After about 15 seconds, he said, "It looks like you are already authorized on his account. It's recent, too. Your father added you about 2 weeks ago. You didn't know this?" "No, I didn't," Alex said. "Thanks for your help, Frank." The drive to Tampa was a bit awkward at first. I wasn't exactly sure what to say to myself, so I asked questions about the last 5 years. Alex told me about his promotion at work. He told me about his kids and when the baby was due. He told me the boy's name was Stephen and the girl's name was Elizabeth. He told me about their plan to buy a bigger house within the next couple of years. He also told me that he only occasionally heard from Dad since he took the job with Parker, and that it had been 2 years since they last saw each other. I felt bad that I missed all of it and thought that if I had been there, I would have made a better effort to see Dad. Then I realized I was there and didn't make that effort. When we got to the bank, Alex said, "I think it would be better if you waited in the car." "That's fine," I said. "I understand." Alex went into the bank but left the car running, presumably so I could keep the air conditioner on while I waited. I turned on the radio and flipped through the stations until a news story caught my attention. The suspect in the murder of Dr. Bernard Newman was released on bail early this morning. She is charged with a firearms violation, but so far has not been charged with murder due to a lack of evidence. Her attorney insists that Dr. Newman attacked his client after she confronted him about stolen material from Parker Biosystems, where he worked. Her attorney claims that her gun went off when Mr. Newman hit her on the head with a paperweight. According to police, she was found unconscious at the scene. In other news, I turned the radio off. I needed to think. If Gabby were out already, they would be looking for me sooner than planned. Alex returned a few minutes later with a hard drive in his hand. "This was the only thing in the box," he said. "Maybe there is evidence on it. We can take it back to my house and look at it." "There's no time for that now," I said. "I just learned Gabby was released from custody this morning. They will be looking for me soon and may go through you to find me." "Shit! What are we going to do now?" asked Alex. "We are not going to do anything," I said. "You are going to take your family away from home for a few days. Tell no one where you are going. Keep your phones at home, and for God's sake, don't use your credit cards." "What are you going to do?" Alex asked. "I haven't figured that out yet. There must be something I can do." "I could use some cash," I said. "Whatever you can spare, but make sure you have plenty for yourself." Since we were already at his bank, Alex went back in and came out with a wad of cash. He peeled off 10 $50 bills and handed them to me. "I wish I could do more to help," he said. "This is enough, but I could use a couple of things at your house," I said. When we got back to Alex's house, he went inside and came out with a hard drive adapter cable and a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. I bought them when I was in high school. I was surprised he still had them. "Are you sure you don't need anything else?" he said. "This will do," I said. "By the way, do you still have our old Yahoo email?" "I do, but I never use it anymore." "That's good. It probably won't be monitored. I will update you there if I have any news, but it won't be soon. Remember, stay off any electronic devices for a while unless you are 100% secure." I got in the car and drove away. After a few blocks, I pulled into a strip mall, parked the car, looked up a number, and dialed. When the call was answered, I said, "Can I speak with Michael Hansen, please?" This audiobook continues on the next video. For more information on this book and others by this author, please visit charleshuss.com.